So like the title says, this is a review on the 8 years of ownership I've had this Bravo Star trailer behind me. I had it custom ordered. Went to the dealership, had it ordered. They said it usually takes about 3 months for them to get built. Which was in December of 2012. I received it in July of 2013, so a little over that, like double, which we'll get into more about the dealership and how important it is we choose who we're going to have a long-term relationship when it comes to buying items like this. But let's get into the features that I had built, or how this thing is, however you want to word that. All right, so keeping in line with my last video, I'd like to try to keep this formula going of the who, what, where, why, and when, and would I do it again formula. Like I said earlier, this is 2013 Bravo Star. It is 16 feet long. The box is 8.5 foot wide with a interior height of a little over 6 feet. It has, on the front here, we'll start with some of the features. It has a triple tube tongue that is 54 inches out from the box, makes it highly maneuverable. You're not going to dent up the corners quite as easily. The back of your truck, ladders hanging off the back, you're not going to dent the front of it. This thing has gone through many sets of tires, and as you can see, the front is real pristine. Of course, that's all down to user error as well, but let's face it, when you got a tongue on the front of a trailer about yay big, dents are going to happen as soon as the road is a little bit bendy. 2 5/16 ball, just a regular triple bolt tongue on it, and then I had the whole front end set up for with the stone guards and everything. And after I got it, I did a lot of polishing, so it doesn't come looking like this chrome wise. Yeah, and then also you can see there's a vent on the top. And on the opposite corner, there's also a vent, and I also had a generator package set up in it. Side, we have a 36-inch door. I forget the exact height, but I'm 6 feet tall. So when getting in and out of this thing, particularly getting out of it, if you're not thinking and you don't have your head craned forward, you will peel the skin off the top of your head on the top of that right there. Of course, yet once again, years of error, but had it been just a couple inches taller, would have been really awesome. But nonetheless, this is a door to get at the many things you will be holding inside of your trailer. This door is extremely flimsy. It has held up as far as oxidation and the salt and everything that we have up here, but it racks. So you will literally every couple of years get down, grab hold of that corner, and pick it up to make it square again, because it will stop shutting. Wished I could have gotten, or they had available, a much more heavy-duty door. I would have loved to have mounted a whole clamp rack onto the door and saved myself a lot of space, and made use of that space a little better. Yeah, and there used to be ladder racks up there. Those were removed recently, but we're going to get into a whole specific section about the ladder racks. There's many different options you can get in these Bravo trailers. So with my setup, I got 2 axles that are 5,200 pounds apiece with 4 electric brakes, 4 wheels, and a mysterious force called tow wheel drive. But in all seriousness, there's a lot of going back and forth whether you do spring or torsion. What these axles have held up to, that we'll get up into a little bit, is super. They're just fantastic. You will see when you're backing up with your trailer and you're kind of banked, you will actually see that the wheels turn kind of inward, almost like a skateboard. Not exactly a selling feature, but it is something that is noticeably different between springs. They ride a lot smoother. So pending if you have passive storage system, much like Paulk likes to have people do with his systems, your stuff's going to stay in place a lot better. And also the feedback going all the way through your vehicle will be a lot better. I have a 3/4 ton truck, so that only means 2 wheels in the back instead of 4. And from one trailer to another, the telegraphing of all those forces really comes through the vehicle a lot. So riding with a torsion setup is extremely smooth. And these also have the Easy Lube feature, where you just stick a grease gun onto it and you pump. The old grease comes right out of the bearings, and you can tell if you use the Mobil 1, the bright red stuff, you'll see all the black old stuff come out until it turns red. You're done, clean up. and that's it for the whole year. Other than that, it has been completely trouble-free, maintenance-free. So if you want to see the insides of the trailer, like I said, there's a tour of this trailer back with the way that I had it set up before on my channel, which you can check out. The inside is wired to have shore power that runs off of like a dryer plug, breaker box, fluorescent lights, couple of plugs. That being said, all of this put together was $10,000. And that set the pace also for my expectations. If you guys have ever seen the Bravo page, they have the 10 things that makes them better than everyone else. Their marketing drips with hubris. But for that kind of money and that kind of authority, some of these things that went wrong with this trailer was really frustrating. Now, I've had a lot of people step into the trailer to check out how I had it all organized, because in this area, you know, almost 10 years ago, it was unusual to see a trailer set up like the way I had it. But everybody that did step in noticed that the trailer felt very solid underfoot, and that has a lot to do with that box frame construction that they do. But some of the irritating things that happened that was immediate. Like the first winter, a bunch of things went wrong with it. That being said, they boast about the fact that these are manufactured by Americans in Illinois. Illinois has cold, you know, especially lake effect wind and stuff like that. They have real cold up there. So the things that went wrong with this in the first winter, all cold related, was shocking. First thing that happened that I noticed was the first time it got cold, not a little bit, but all of the paint came off of the tongue, the tubes, and the back bumper. When it got cold out, it literally wrinkled up like potato chips, and you just brushed your hands across it, and it all fell off. I hadn't even used the trailer at that point. I had gotten it in July, super busy summer, all the way into fall. I was grinding right into the winter time. I had no time to build it. It just sat. So it was exposed to nothing, and it all came off. And then I rented a spot to start building the cabinetry inside. And when I went to go hook up the brand new jack that was stainless steel from the factory, which I thought, sweet, I'm going to have this for life, that froze too and never worked again. You couldn't grease it, you couldn't open it up, you couldn't do anything. There was no visible rust. I tried everything I could think of to get it unjammed, and it just would never work again. I knew somebody else that bought a Bravo trailer. Same thing happened to them. So that was a severe letdown. The condition you see it in now, I prepped the hell out of it. I grinded all of it down to pure steel, hit it with etching primer, and then a couple of coats of some Rust-Oleum enamel. And then, you know, I do that every couple of years to just touch it up. Holds up great. Let's see. Other issues that I was not exactly pleased with was that when I first got this, I had actually crinkled this corner. Through user error, I was trying to see where I was backing into. I had shut my truck off, put the truck in gear, and got out to take a look. It was first thing in the morning. I was distracted, and I hadn't put the truck fully in gear. It was only in the synchros. So as I was viewing the spot I was about to back into, it just started rolling, and the truck jackknifed into the trailer and crinkled the whole corner. This became a year-long fiasco, which had a lot to do with the dealership I had bought the trailer from. We'll get into that about the long-term relationships. So I replaced the whole front skin myself. I shouldn't say myself, I teamed up with a buddy that was a body man. We peeled the whole front of this thing apart. In Bravo's page, where they're talking about the 10 best things that makes a Bravo different, they brag about the fact that they prime and paint the entire frame before they put any skin on it. I will post a photograph in here of when we peeled this thing apart. There was no paint on anything. It was bare steel. seeing that they are from Illinois, they also have a lot of precipitation out there. When building anything that's going to be experiencing a lot of precipitation, as you know as a builder, not only do you have to take proper flashing to direct the water, but you always have to give it a place to go. And the one thing that they did with this that was critical, and I could see how they were doing this, was that when we peeled this whole thing apart, all the frame was rusted in this zone going right across the top of the stone guard. A tiny bit of trim right here at the top of the stone guard that this sheathing or sheet metal sits in. I'm guessing their idea was that they were going to bed that with RVT, bed the metal in that, and then that would create a seal so that any water coming down wouldn't go all the way in, but instead it was getting funneled inside. So the whole frame in the front was severely rusted. It was barely 2 years old. Had it been primed and painted like they advertised, probably wouldn't have been that bad. So we addressed it, and we did it right. I did not have the luxury to strip the whole thing down and address the rest of it to see if the rest of it, or maybe just that one spot, wasn't primed and painted, but that's what it was, and that made me pretty angry that they falsely advertised in that aspect. And if it took them 6, almost 7 months to get it to me, when people get really jammed up, mistakes happen, and they're probably working their guys really hard, and stuff happens, I guess. Let's see, another thing that was a bummer was that you might be able to see in this, I set up chicken lights running around the whole thing. I have the wonky RV door here that you have to bend back into place over and over again. Not very industrial. Let's take a second to talk about ladder racks. One more thing I wanted to mention about cold weather related failures is the fact that also that same winter when it got cold, all the lights on the inside, that was DC, that gets powered through the 7-pin harness on the front, those all failed and they never worked again. Had an electrician even look at it, and he basically said he would probably have to pull a new wire and rewire the whole thing because he couldn't figure out why they had failed. That was irritating. This happened. These are the wheels that came with the trailer. This is garbage. They did this immediately. When I first got these rims, I knew that they would be subject to a lot of salt and wear and tear and stuff, so I waxed them. And to see this peel up as soon as it got cold out, like the metal on the tongue, was really disappointing. But I got a dump trailer, and it did the same thing on the dump trailer. Same style wheel, and they told me they were powder coated, and there's no way that's powder coating. So there's that. All right, a word about the ladder racks. These things are only $100 a pair, if I remember correctly, or $200 a pair. And the manufacturing reflects the price. We got these big toothpastey welds here, but these things are extremely flimsy. They were very difficult to work with because at the time I had ordered this, I was told that Bravo does not do ladders. So you have to use your own step ladders on the sides to tie things off. And I say the sides because you cannot walk on the roof. Well, at least on this one that I bought, because that wasn't also a feature that they did not have at the time. The crucial bit that makes these ladder racks suck is that despite the fact that we have this nice toothpastey weld here and here, which looks more like a braze because it doesn't seem to have penetrated much, but then they left this alone. So, Gripey McGripertons, despite all those things, as we talked about, we have the wonky door. We have the paint that peels off in a mere bit of cold. We have the utter rubbish rims and rubbish ladder racks. We also have electrical problems that also fail during the cold. Despite all the faults that this trailer has, the lack of communication with the manufacturer, I am in the position of needing to buy a new one for a specific reason. And I decided to go with another Bravo because of what happened to it a few months back. You'll see in this picture now. So as you might have seen in that photograph, a tree fell on my trailer and onto my home. It was a poplar tree, just a little under 100 feet tall. I'll show you in just a second that the stump width was a little over 34 inches across. In that photograph, you may or may not have been able to pick up on the fact that that entire tree's weight was resting on the back frame of this entire trailer. This ramp door and assembly is built so damn tough that that tree pushed the rolling pins and jacks into the tarmac of my driveway. Like down into it. The tongue was up off the ground. It had pulled off of the coupler of my truck. It was a solid mess. And despite all of that, I had to take the ladder rack off. It was completely bent up, as you saw. I needed to finish a job that I was working on. This trailer tows straight. No word of a lie. I've been working on it for the past 4 or 5 months. Granted, I cannot use the back door anymore. But it tows straight. Nothing got bent underneath. And the fact of the matter is that it's just the back half of the trailer right in this zone that got bent, and one of the cross members on the roof. And that's it. That is such impressive strength and durability. I don't know what else to say, you know? I mean, maybe if that tree was like a hickory or a white oak, or even more heavier than that, it might have been different. But I had to have a crane come and take that tree off the trailer and my house. It did break the ridge of my house and go into my house quite a bit. Had the trailer not been here, that tree would have easily gone straight through into the first floor, and we were home when it happened. We have since had to move out of the house, and I am in the middle of renovating that. My entire house, which I'm going to start posting more videos about on YouTube, because, I don't know, maybe people will dig it. So with that being said, that test of durability, I am buying another Bravo again. But one thing's for sure, I am not going with those guys. Drove out to a wonderful place out in Fall River, Mass. Wright Trailers. Got a quote from him. Far more professional guy to deal with. And like I said, making a relationship with people that you buy your equipment from, you know, it could be Bravo Trailers or a Bobcat skid steer, you know, any heavy piece of equipment when it comes to service. You know, I learned this via, if you guys know Stanley the Dirt Monkey, he's got a great channel, very informative, and he's all about this, and he goes on and on, like testimonial stuff about dealing with other professionals where it comes to a piece of equipment and you need to go, and they're just fumbling around. It's frustrating stuff. So when I did the whole front end damage, I went straight to the trailer dealership and said, we need to fix this. And I went there to go and get a quote. They wrote everything down, and they said, well, we'll get an estimate to you soon. We're real busy right now. I said, no problem, so am I. So I worked. And I checked in with him every like month or something when I could think about it, and was just like, you got that estimate yet? No. So after 3-4 months of waiting for that estimate and calling in and checking, I checked in on the 4th month, and the guy who had done the estimate no longer worked there anymore. So I had to remake a new appointment. Place was about an hour and 20 minutes from my house, to go there and have them look at it again and start the process over again. I go there, they do it, they figure out the materials needed, how much it'll be to do the repair, how long it will take. And I said, great, let's do it. So I paid for the materials. And then months and months went by where they had some of the parts, they didn't have parts of others, and it just kept going on and on and on. We finally had all the parts at the warehouse. It was like 6 parts to replace the front end. We set the time. They said it would take 1 day to do the job. So I said, all right. They said, we'll take care of it on the weekend so you don't have to lose any time. I was like, well, I'll do you one better. I'll drop it off Thursday night so you get Friday and Saturday. And I'll come and pick it up on Monday morning. I go there to drop it as scheduled, as we talked about, that I gave them a whole extra day to do the job. They backpedaled. And they said that, well, it might take longer than what we said it would take. I quoted back to them, you said it would take no longer than 8 to 10 hours to do the job. I'm here on Friday morning to give it to you so you have 20 hours to do it because you're open 10 hours a day. And come back and pick it up on Monday. And now you're telling me it's taking me longer than that. And at this point, when I was there at the dealership, it had been 14 months since my initial time of going there to get that estimate. I believe you have to work to screw up that bad. So I took all the materials at that moment, and I started resourcing and calling people. Do you know anybody that could help me repair this? You know, it's definitely a 2-man job. I don't want it to take too long to do. Found my guy. He helped me. We made it look dynamite. End of story. It ended well. But 14 months? 14 months? I am a patient man. But that's ridiculous. So that's why I went out of my way to Fall River to go and talk to my man Steve at Wright's Trailers. If you're in New England, check the dude out. He's a real straight up guy. I look forward to ordering that trailer from him. It's going to be a whole new setup. I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, this was not covered by my insurance. I mean, it was. They gave me $1,500 to replace the whole trailer. That was $10,000. Needless to say, I should have read that policy a little bit better. Yet, once again, user error. But seriously, after all that and taking you guys through this whole ride, I'm going to be getting another one. And I'll take you guys along the ride for outfitting it. Hope it gives you guys some ideas. Hope you guys share some ideas inside that I could take. YouTube has been a great resource when it comes to ideas. You don't necessarily have to copy somebody else's idea, but I definitely let people's other ideas inspire my own, where it's like, I love the concept of this, but I'm going to execute it this way, or whatever. It's a great resource. It has been a huge education for me to be have this available, you know, to just go on there and look up videos about this and that and the other thing and just learn, and confirm what my biases are, or break them and create new ones and new ideas and concepts. So yeah, that has been my walk with Bravo Trailers. You know, I looked this up before I started doing the video, and all I saw was videos of people buying a brand new Bravo, doing a review, and that's it. I feel that time needs to be incorporated. How well does this thing stand up? Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I hope you guys have a great, profitable week. All right, just for the sense of scale, this is the tree that came down. This is my old Stihl 460, 32-inch bar. This is just a little bit above the brute swell. Had this tree still be in the ground, this is probably about 1.5 feet off the ground.